The CEO assassin in the New York broad daylight United Healthcare deletion has been brought into custody, and did a little research on this gentleman, and this is fascinating to say the least. So if you guys haven't been keeping up, several days ago, there was a early morning assassin who took out the CEO of a major insurance health company. Now, outside of how interesting it was that some people were celebrating that a CEO of a major company got taken out, which is weird, the reality of the situation is still pretty sad, that this dude was a father and a husband and his life was cut short. We discussed the craziness of someone running $1 billion company, not walking around with security.
Yeah.
But what is interesting is a little bit of the background of the gentleman who is now in custody. His name is Luigi Mangione. Okay, so that is who deleted CEO Brian Thompson. He's being held without bail, was ordered held without bail, and did not enter a plea in the first court appearance today. And I think they got him in Pennsylvania. He faces 5 charges, including 1 felony of forgery and 1 felony of carrying a firearm without a license. And so this is a crazy, crazy situation. He was arrested on charges after being picked up while eating at a McDonald's. And 26-year-old had multiple fake IDs with a gun and a suppressor, according to officials. He was also in possession of a document railing against the healthcare industry. Now, the healthcare industry in America has all sorts of issues. I find it pretty difficult to navigate, especially if you're poor. I think that's a fair critique. I also think a lot of folks don't understand how this industry works and how insurance in general works, is that people are paying in and those people are paying off and offsetting the expenses of when they actually have to pay out for services. Well, this gentleman didn't like that system, and there was video and footage of him railing against capitalism and against the system and against all these different things. Now, the interesting part about him, though, is that he was oddly attended a $40,000 a year all-boys prep school in Baltimore.
Wow.
So the gentleman who took out the CEO of a $1 billion company was the valedictorian of a $40,000 a year prep school.
Which means he was smart and rich.
Make this make sense for me.
Yeah.
The anti-capitalist grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth and decided to end the life of a CEO
who's putting the silver spoon in his kid's mouth.
You
don't choose your parents, so I wonder if there's some sort of resentment there that he had as well to growing up so
absolutely
cozy.
Resentment.
Just to his parents type of thing, you think?
It's resentment
They're
towards
working too much.
No, I don't think it's that deep. It's the Hassan Piker effect. Like, I grow up really spoiled and rich with a lot of power, and then I become a flaming leftist lunatic.
And you don't realize, and you're too detached from the effort it took to get there. And so
you think that the whole system is rigged.
And you don't have any structure, or you don't have any conflict in your life or in your story. So you find something to like be the voice of. And that is like a problem that you need to speak out against.
Yeah, this is exactly the type of things that happen in these circles. He was the valedictorian, and imagine a society that subjects people to conditions that make them terribly unhappy, then gives them drugs to take away their unhappiness. Okay, that's a quote that he liked. And this is him giving his valedictorian speech, where he ends up becoming the valedictorian of this $40,000 a year school.
Wow.
Young guy, good-looking guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were cracking jokes about the good-looking assassin, yada, yada, yada. People were celebrating that he did this.
Yeah,
like this is even in. I mean, I don't want to say Abba and Preach was celebrating or co-sign celebrating, but even in their video, they were just kind of like,
flip it.
I hate your guys' healthcare system. That's unfortunate. Like, that's really sad that like people could be so callous. Now, again, is there problems in the American healthcare system? Absolutely, there's problems in the American healthcare system. But is it beyond anyone being able to work through the process of figuring out your life without needing to do this? This is the epitome of like leftist elitism. This is the epitome of, we know what's best for you.
Yeah.
So we're going to do it. This is the sort of stuff that if you criticize this guy and say he's an idiot, like this is privilege manifested.
Yeah.
That you will get roasted for it. Like, this is where we've come. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make this a political issue, but this is a worldview issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think it's super sad in terms of how people are viewing this, right? Now, again, I've been on public health insurance. I was on Medicare in 2005 when I blew out my ACL. And the reality of trying to get surgery while on Medi-Cal was brutal. The doctor I sat down with was like, yo, I do like one of these a year.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to let you operate on my knee to try to fix my ACL.
Yeah, hello.
So I was able to get a very low paying job at an after school center and get me reasonable health insurance, took my MRI from the Medicare guy, went over to my new insurance, and I got a surgery, and I think it costed me $1,000 out of pocket to get my ACL replaced. And since then, a lot of people don't know about the American healthcare system, is they've passed Obamacare, which prevented the insurance companies being able to deny people who have pre-existing conditions. So not perfect, but definitely not what people are making it out to be, where like these insurance companies exist and they're just trying to take people out and not pass up. Now, does that happen? I'm sure it happens. I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff that happens. But the reality of we have, and we do, by the way, subsidize a lot of the global health research and the breakthrough and the medicines and the technology is subsidized here. Like America does all this research and all these new patents and all, you don't think those folks are going to want to make money off of that? Like that's how the system works, right? Now, should you charge 100x for penicillin or 100x for medicine for diabetics? No, that's stupid. That's bad. And there needs to be more oversight for that. But to say that this is justified, I think is utterly insane, especially by somebody who is well off themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like, just from poking away, he was kind of, he was a troubled soul, a very smart one. And so he's read this book, and he left a review on his book that says, when all other ways of communication fail, violence becomes essential for survival. So, and this was about like fossil fuels and all this stuff, right? So
He got radicalized.
Yeah, he's radicalized. I would probably say just like anti-institutions. Some people were saying he followed Zuby and Joe Rogan. I think it's a result that you often find in a leftist worldview, but I don't know if he was exactly leftist. Colin Rugg says, sounds like he went crazy. Someone said, I'm curious what his motive was. And then Colin Rugg said, here's a hint. He has an x-ray of like a gnarly back surgery that he had to have. And so Colin Rugg was saying earlier up here, sounds like he went crazy after a failed back surgery. He wasn't heard from for about a year. So a level of it was probably being left destitute, I guess. Well, I'd be curious, left destitute from a health insurance system, or if that's who he just targeted because he couldn't go take out a surgeon that maybe messed up his back or whatever. Thaddeus said the United Healthcare CEO okayed the use of faulty AI to deny insurance coverage for up to 90% of claims made.
Yeah, I mean, multiple things can be true at the same time. We just said that the
100%.
healthcare is a mess, but punchline, it has gotten a lot better. And it was after the passing of Obamacare. Absolutely. You can't just deny people with cancer anymore and be like, nah. You can't do that no more. Like that is absolutely changed with the passing of Obamacare. Now, you can make a separate argument of like Trump trying to take it out. They tried to take it out last time. They couldn't get it out. He said he had an idea of a plan, yada, yada, yada. But there's a lot that changed after Obamacare passed, affordable health care passed. And that, people buying insurance on the free market in California. I had Obamacare up until like 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago when we got, how long was that? We were getting covered California, paying for it on the market. And that all became much easier after affordable health care passed.
Yeah. I did have a buddy whose mom couldn't get, like, I think as little as like 2 or 3 years ago, she had to apply for some sort of grant to get the daggone chemo medication because her insurance denied it.
Jeez.
I was like, what?
Yeah, that's awful.
What world is that? So there's sketchiness. Yeah, there's sketchiness on obviously in health insurance, but like no one looks at a health insurance CEO and says like, oh, you made the most integral decision to get to that position. That doesn't mean that you deserve to be assassinated.
Yeah. There's sketchiness in every insurance industry.
Hello. Yeah.
That's how insurance works. That's why.
Why do you think PBD got out?
Right. Jeez.
He's like, I need to start a credible company. I need to sell this one.
Every insurance company. We were just talking about the other day with Chris, right? Like insurance is just kind of a nasty business.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think happens if you have life insurance? They're going to try to do everything they can to not pay out your family members.
Oh, that's dark.
Right? Like that's the point.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you go take out the CEO. And then to celebrate that or to minimize that or to act like it's cool is just crazy. People are review bombing the McDonald's. The suspect was arrested. The internet never loses. The internet never
I hope they're
loses.
giving good reviews.
Right now, we're all speculating his motive. He sounds like a very vocal guy, and I assume, well, he had a manifesto railing. I thought he did, right? Google his name and manifesto. I thought he had a manifesto talking about capitalism. He was an anti-capitalist, from my understanding. I think the issue to me is that like people can't hold multiple things to be true at the same time.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Like you can say, "Hey, there's some issues in the American healthcare system."
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then say, "But we shouldn't go out and take out the CEO of a health insurance company."
Yeah.
Yes, like both things can be true at the same time, right? That's the part that is insane to me with folks who act like you have to go one or the other. Yeah, I don't think this dude was crazy. He seems very calculated and very sober.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we said earlier.
The right way to criticize the CEO is to hold him higher ups in courts, not to kill or mob mentality him. Yeah, absolutely. The issue with capitalism is that there's a tendency to over deregulate stuff. And there are certain things that do need to be regulated. For example, airline industry absolutely needs to be regulated highly. The railroad industry needs to be regulated. And some could argue the healthcare industry needs to be regulated, meaning that you can't just sell crazy medication at 100x margins, right? Like there has to be some regulation to that. And I would say probably folks on the right will be like, well, no, you need to deregulate it, make it easier, and blah, blah. And I would say, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I think there needs to be some more regulations. Vaccines absolutely should be regulated. And where is that line between unchecked capitalism and good free market practices that create competitions so you can get the prices down of everything? Where's that line? I don't know.
Majon is an anti-capitalist 26-year-old who shared quotes from Unabomber. I don't think it necessarily makes him like aligned with the Democratic Party, but he was anti-capitalist in the sense that like the Unabomber and like libertarian, anti-capitalism, anti-institution, anti-anything.
Sure.
That
Yeah. Someone said, I think that taxation needs to be regulated. I'm with you. I don't like the amount I got to pay, you know? And I think 110 years ago, we barely had to pay anything in taxes, income taxes.
Hello.
So I don't think that's an unreasonable take. Hey, thank you so much for checking out the video. Please be sure to comment below and subscribe and all that good stuff. And check out this other video that YouTube seems to be recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right. I'll see you over there. Peace.